All right, our last stop on our journey through the principles of design is visual rhythm. And in order to learn about visual rhythm, we're going to be looking at the photographs of Tina Modotti, who's Italian, but kind of more closely associated with Mexico, where she spent most of her adult life and made most of her photographs. So, rhythm is in art very similar to what it is in music. Um, it is syncopation. It is any repetitious visual element, something that occurs more than once. Um, any visual element that kind of occurs more than once in your photograph, and it does kind of take two forms. Um, I like to differentiate between pattern and repetition. Pattern being something that is regular and predictable, and repetition just being um, some sort of motif that appears more than once. Um, this would be a good example of repetition. This photograph of these flowers, because we certainly have visual elements that are repeated throughout, but they're not particularly regular or predictable, or they don't kind of reappear in mathematical intervals. Compare that to, say, this this stadium seating. This is predictable. It is regular. This would be an excellent example of pattern. The flowers would be an excellent example of repetition. Um, Here we have some good patterning in the stairs and in the lines. And again, this entire photograph, um, same thing with this one, is really just a photograph of all these different lines. We have some kind of interesting repetition in this photograph between kind of rectilinear shapes and objects, like the man-made guitar, like the man-made bullets and the bandolier, and then some organic rhythm as well in the kind of natural curvilinear forms of these corn kernels. Here's another great example of visual rhythm. And what does rhythm do for you? Well, in some way, rhythm can add a lot of movement into a photograph that otherwise might be more static. For example, um, the stadium seating, the way your eye kind of bounces down the stairs and down the seats, there's a sense of movement there that kind of comes in from the top and then sweeps down towards the bottom. So, when used correctly or when used for its own purpose, rhythm can really add a lot of motion into a photograph.